Okay, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Had a bit of a hiatus, but we had a lot going on over here. An impromptu Vegas and Colorado trip. Both were amazing. Skiing with dad, potentially for the last time. Also celebrating his birthday, which was nice. And there's nothing quite like a Vegas day pool party at the Fountain Blue, DJ'd by David Guetta. Highly recommend. But we're back. Lots to recap and catch up on. We'll do some housekeeping, then some sports stuff after. So first up, we'll get kind of the sad news out of the way first. George Foreman, Gene Hackman, Michelle Trachtenberg, Val Kilmer have all passed away. I loved Michelle Trachtenberg in Harriet the Spy and, of course, Eurotrip. Gene Hackman, I mean, the original Lex Luthor, Superman bad guy, for those not in the know. He's been in too many impeccable films to even try to name. So George Foreman, obviously the most famous boxer, and on top of that, making the Foreman Grill, which literally saved me and my father when we were both bachelors. So tough one on that one as well. He just released a biopic, so I now definitely have to watch that. And Val Kilmer, I mean, come on. Jim Morrison, my second favorite Batman, Iceman from Top Gun. I mean, that three film stretch alone, how many lives do you need to accomplish that level of notoriety? Um, dude was a savant. Um, dude was an icon. So I'll miss him dearly. His documentary was pretty good as well. So check it out if you're interested. Now on to the more positive news. Marvel dropped the cast of all 22 Avengers for the upcoming Avengers film. And yes, if you're wondering to yourself, did I watch the entirety of the 3.5 hour rollout event? I surely did. Um, the new Thunderbolts movie, aka, hopefully no spoilers, the new Avengers, was pretty solid as well. Looks like it feeds directly into Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday, which was previously mentioned. So very exciting. I'm a major Godzilla versus King Kong fan, and the third movie in that sort of crossover was just announced. It's called Supernova, and that name alone is just there's a lot built-in excitement there just off the name alone. The Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie was just recently announced. He's going to be the lead in that one. It's going to take place a few years after Episode 9. Definitely excited. It's called Starfighter. So, again, great names. These names are very engaging and enticing. Zack Snyder will direct a new UFC movie. You know, I actually was lucky enough to meet him. He's one of my favorite directors, so I know you guys know that I'm very excited about that. A new Spring Breakers sort of pseudo sequel has been announced as well. Peter Schrager has recently moved from NFL Network to ESPN. Um, so that's it kind of on the announcement side. Well, I guess there's a video game announcement. So I've been waiting patiently, or so I thought, for the Wonder Woman game. That was just canceled, so major bummer on that front. But luckily enough to supplement, although there's like two other Star Wars games I've been recently waiting for, a third one has just been announced, and surprisingly is going to be coming out in the near future. So again, lots to look forward to, and I'm much appreciative about that. Other releases, my favorite comedian Bill Burr dropped a new stand up. My favorite musical artist Skrillex dropped an album, which was kind of like a compilation mixtape kind of vibe, which was really cool. And my favorite rapper, contemporary rapper Currency, dropped a new album, as well as Wiz Khalifa. So if you're interested in any of that kind of music, check it out. Another random sort of exciting announcement was that a sequel to the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, written by Quentin Tarantino, has been announced. This one will also be written by Quentin Tarantino, but directed by the one and only David Fincher. So that will be anxiously awaited for, not just by me, but by many. And lastly, the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever, the previously mentioned Val Kilmer, second best Batman, second most underrated Batman movie ever, is being played for one night only in a theater in LA. So wild, so jealous. They fought a lot to try to get that cut released at some point by Warner, now just in general. So if I lived out in LA or if I was rich, I would definitely fly out to go see that. So hopefully that sees the light of day at some point, other than just that one showing. Let's see. Don't really care too much about the Met Gala or the Kentucky Derby. I guess we'll go right into sports. So my Giants, the New York Football Giants, signed Russell Wilson. Very exciting. He has been one of my favorite, if not my favorite quarterback in the NFL. Um, other than, I mean, I was a fan of Mahomes when he first came up. Now it's like play it out to root for him. And Justin Herbert just keeps floundering in the playoffs. So by default, he's sort of like my been a favorite of his for 12 or so years now. So he's kind of my default. So we're lucky enough to actually sign one of my favorite players. That never happens. If you know me well enough, LeBron signs to the Lakers. Kawhi goes to the Clippers, uh, who I can't stand, but I love Kawhi. KD and Kevin Durant and Kyrie came to my Nets, but didn't end up doing anything. Barely played together. Same with James Harden. So it's very few and far between whenever this happens. So very excited about this. Joey Bosa to the Bills. DeAndre Hopkins to Baltimore. Justin Fields to the Jets. Sam Darnold to the Seahawks. Geno to Las Vegas, the Raiders. Devontae to the Rams, and Debo Samuel to the Commanders. So a lot of changes and shakeups going on. March Madness also kind of don't really care about, so I'll kind of bypass through that. The F1 season has begun. We are a few races in now. Still adjusting. Kind of seeing Lewis Hamilton drive for Ferrari. Carlos Sainz, again, this is another example. My favorite driver signing to my least favorite team. Carlos Sainz driving for Williams. So that was a tough one to stomach, but luckily it's only for a year. In terms of the New York Rangers, this was the first time 0 original 6 teams didn't make the playoffs in NHL history. So well done, boys. We fired our coach 1 year removed from winning the President's Trophy, which is winning the most games in the NHL. So that's very gutting. So the rumor was that Mark Messier wanted to be the next coach, but that was unfortunately put to bed. I'd be even okay with him being GM, but our new coach is the old Penguins coach who won the Penguins back-to-back championships in 2016 and 2017. So there's some hope for us yet. We'll just have to see about off-season trades and acquisitions. In terms of the NBA, some points of order before we dive into the playoffs which are fully underway. Hubie Brown retires. My God. Huge end of an era for me. He was the voice of my basketball fandom, the entirety of it. It's just so gutting even now to think about, and it's already happened. That probably happened a month and a half ago. Greg Popovich moves to president of operations for the Spurs due to health reasons, so he's no longer the coach. Also, end of an era. My Lakers, Showtime Lakers lose in the first round of the playoffs after being the 3 seed, avoiding every team that they wanted to avoid, and yet still get bounced the first chance they got. Tough pill to swallow for a Laker fan and for LeBron. If he was smart and wanted to ring chase, he would take the league minimum, which no team can do now because of the second apron, which is like a financial cap, and you are severely sort of hurt in a different way, either by financially or by draft picks. If you end up kind of going through that second threshold. If he was smart, he would lead this last charge here, both for him and the franchise, before he sails off into the sunset. So we'll have to wait to see on that front, but he might not even stay with us because I believe he's a free agent this offseason. So we will see. Nuggets survive a 7-game series with the Clippers, thankfully. Um, Warriors upset the 2 seed Rockets, but Steph gets hurt in game 1 of the second round, so that's an absolute bummer. OKC advances, as does the Celtics, but I'll speak to that here in a second. The Pacers somehow, gentlemen, swept the Cavs, the number 1 seed Cavs. I just can't believe the pace in which they're playing. They're a fully put together team, and I personally think, well, I'll save that for what I mentioned here in a second. So, um, random side note: there have been 5 14+ point fourth quarter comebacks in the playoffs this season, and we're not even halfway through. So that's just absolutely wild to me. Um, Included in that is the Knicks, which they did twice. Well, I think one of them, they did it twice for sure, because I think 2 were 20 points, and they may have been down 14 in the third quarter and came back, so maybe not the fourth quarter. I'll have to double check that, but either way, um, Celtics absolutely blowing it. Celtics, the defending champs. I mean, what are they doing? And then they were already on the ropes and in trouble, being down 2 games to 1, and now Jason Tatum gets injured, so now they're completely written off. Sad to see, but I'm sure the league and fans are happy to see the Knicks kind of move and advance and kind of bring attention back to a league that now has more physicality and was kind of suffering a little bit there, getting a little monotonous. On the NFL side of things, the Giants, great defensive player, um, Abdul Carter, we signed him with the 3rd overall pick in the draft. Then, stupidly, we traded up to get some unproven quarterback, as opposed to the son of Deion Sanders, who eventually got drafted in the 5th round. Tough all the way around in both of these scenarios. And add to that the Giants got dealt the single worst and hardest schedule in the NFL this upcoming year. So we'll be drafting high again next year, and that would be a good thing, but we traded away some valuable assets for next year, for this year, and it would have been nice if we would have actually saved trading up for Jackson Dart and could have drafted Eli Manning's nephew, Arch Manning, in the draft next year and continue that Manning royalty. So that's missed opportunity, but we have Russell. We have to deal with Jackson, and we'll have to see how the chips kind of fall for us here. Anyway, enough for sports. Now to some rants. I had such an interesting thought exercise recently. Well, I guess this is kind of sports related. Um, I was thinking about the contrast, about how the Giants are my favorite football team, and they had this amazing commodity, aka Saquon Barkley. They release him. He immediately goes to our in-division rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, and upon arrival, immediately wins a championship. Um, just utter embarrassment, incompetence as far as the eye can see. And we did it on national television because of Hard Knocks. So add insult to injury. Conversely, the Lakers trade their second best player, Anthony Davis, for Luka Doncic, and immediately go from having zero succession plan after LeBron retires to at least being relevant at a minimum, if not halfway viable for the next 7+ years. So I just kind of found that interesting. One team on the end of the spectrum, both with the things I listed previously with the Giants and the Saquon Barkley aspect, versus my favorite basketball team, and it can all change so quickly on a dime. Another sports rant. I recently found out that the NBA playoffs is not a best versus worst until the 2 remaining teams are left standing. The format is actually bracket format. I still can't believe this. It's like the NCAA championship. It doesn't make any sense. So really, the incentive for the number 1 seed could actually end up depending on the draw that you get in the bracket, teams who go on a heater at the right time at the end of the regular season, or fringe playoff teams or play-in teams, the 9 and the 10 seed potentially end up making a run. it's just subject to so much of that kind of stuff that it almost kind of takes out half of the incentive for that team to chase the number one overall seed. So just kind of frustrating. I still can't believe I only recently found that out. Maybe it hasn't always been that way. Maybe that's more recent since the play-in changes, but fascinating, infuriating, all those things. Some random quick hits before we kind of round out the pod here. Um, Toby Reacts is the best follow on the internet. I dare you to argue with me. If you're a sports fan, I mean, he's just the ultimate follow. Um, if you're not already following him, I mean, if you're not interested in sports, probably not. But even if you just like British accents, his reactions are so genuine because he's English. He's got the accent. He's obviously a football fan. So they're all just like completely like babe in the woods, like, wait, he can do that? How have I never seen that before? And then as you kind of watch him find his footing, he will actually start to make comps which are either hilarious or actually semi spot on. So it's cool to watch him kind of develop from when he first started this into where he is now. So check that out if you're interested. Um, Something that you may either 100% would have not bet on, or maybe something that you would have 100% bet on. I am randomly obsessed with the reality TV show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and unapologetically so. The new season drops tonight, actually. Oh no, I'm sorry, tomorrow. But I'll have to wait until this weekend to watch it, sadly. But I am counting down the days, and we very much will be having a watch party, and I will be leading the charge, even more so than my significant other. Well, we always end the podcast with some tweets, so I got a couple here for us. Just two, just because it's been so long, I would have had to really kind of cycle through a month and a half or so, 2 months of tweets. So I found some recent ones that I thought both would translate and maybe carry over and had some real world applications for you all, and then something that might just ring true to the sports fans. So something I didn't realize how much I needed and can no longer live without: podcast timestamps. So check those out if you haven't already. It depends on the podcast that you listen to, but recently with the new iOS update, they now if the podcast if they work with this sort of structure, they allow for podcast timestamps, so you can go directly to specific points of the conversation and kind of similar to how YouTube does with the embedding of the times. They now have that on Apple Podcasts. I don't know if they have it on Spotify yet, but um, hugely beneficial for me for the amount of podcasts, especially sports, that I ingest. So that's a good one. It just allows you to kind of crank through at a much higher rate and just listen to the stuff that actually applies without all the banter. Unless you're one of those people that just like to listen to podcasts on long road trips. So um, hopefully that benefits you. And the last one is the entirety of the sports world wants a Knicks Timberwolves NBA Finals. That is just factual. There is no point for contention or any sort of up for debate in that category. What else can I say? Debate me if you want, and I hope that the next time I talk to you, that is in fact the case. But that is the episode of the pod. I hope you enjoyed. One day we'll have a name for this podcast. Still got some front runners, just deciding on the rest of those as well as the artwork. But until then, stay tuned for the next one. Look forward to it. Take care.